American taxpayers should be furious with President Biden. He's put the US dollar at risk with Saudi Arabia and the rest of the world. He's increased the chances of sticky inflation. He's increased the chances your children and grandchildren will fight Russia in Ukraine. Trump is uniting the Republican Party like never before, and it's putting Democrats into a tailspin. Plus, Nancy Pelosi tries to blame Donald Trump once again as the sole reason the Capitol was attacked on January 6th, and not because she rejected the National Guard. Plus, RFK Jr. shows why shrinking the U.S. military budget in half and bringing home troops could be a game changer for the United States of America. Thank you so much for liking and sharing these videos. It really helps me out, so thank you so much. By the way, happy Flag Day, and also happy birthday to President Trump. Representative Andy Biggs of Arizona is taking up the fight to remove the security clearance of the 51 former intelligence agents that lied about the Hunter Biden laptop in order to shift the election in Joe Biden's favor. You don't need to waste taxpayer money investigating these 51 people. Just remove their security clearance, and that's what Andy Biggs is trying to do. He said, I'm taking over the bill to revoke the security clearance of the 51 lying intelligence officials who claimed that Hunter's laptop was Russian disinformation. Had they not done that, President Biden would have remained off the ballot and out of the United States White House. But unfortunately, here we are. President Joe Biden's DOJ has just argued that Attorney General Merrick Garland is immune from being held in contempt of Congress. For some context, Republicans have been attempting to hold Garland in contempt for not complying with a subpoena which demanded he release audio tapes from the controversial interview between Biden and special counsel Robert Hur. This is the same interview which caused Hur to drop his classified document charges against Joe Biden because he was reportedly lacking mental acuity and had a weak memory. Now, it's amazing how no one is above the law except the guy that stands in between you and hearing those tapes that likely make Joe Biden look like a slow-speaking, weak-memoried old man who can't stand trial, but somehow is smart enough and capable enough of running the United States of America. I don't get it, right? Now, in regards to the DOJ's argument, they claimed Republicans already have the transcripts of the interview and that Biden has invoked executive privilege, which means the subpoena no longer has authority over Garland. To their first point, they previously admitted the transcripts were edited, so there's good reason not to trust Joe Biden or the DOJ or Merrick Garland. To the second point, I'll read what Republican Representative Gary Palmer argued. He stated, considering the investigation into Biden's mishandling of classified documents is closed, Biden does not face any legal jeopardy. Also, the fact that the written, unredacted transcripts have been released, it makes no sense that AG Garland is willing to be charged in contempt of Congress for refusing to comply with the subpoena and release the recording of the interview. So, in essence, there is likely a reason that they're overcomplicating the simple task of releasing the audio tapes. The most simple answer is that the audio tapes have damning information against the sitting president. It's the only reason, but I would like to know from you over in the chat, why is no one above the law suddenly above the law, right? Is it like I said, it's because he's the only one that stands between you and me hearing those tapes? He's the only one that stands between us finding out with certainty that Joe Biden is a moron, a weak-minded old man who can't keep his train of thought? Let me know over in the comments, please. Now, despite the seemingly endless drama in Congress, former President Donald Trump has set out to help his party make peace with each other. The first hint of this aspiration was when it was announced that Senator Mitch McConnell would be meeting with Trump for the first time in years. Following that shocking revelation, Trump met with a ton of House Republicans on Capitol Hill for a closed-door meeting. According to reports, Trump tried to erase tension by speaking a message of unity and openly joking about the feud between Marjorie Taylor Greene and House Speaker Mike Johnson. Apparently, it was a great meeting, and they covered a lot of big issues that they are now on the same page about. And the fact that Mitch McConnell has forgiven Trump and moved on comes directly from the fact that we now have more information about Nancy Pelosi trying to sabotage the Stop the Vote rally in Washington, D.C. on January 6th. So a lot of revelation has come out, which is why Mitch McConnell is saying, wait a minute, maybe I need to give Donald Trump a second chance. Now, after the flames were fanned, House Republican Conference Chair Elise Stefanik of New York stated, "We just concluded a very successful special political conference. He, Trump, was warmly welcomed. We are 100% unified behind his candidacy and are ready to get to work on behalf of the American people." Now, I wonder if Greene and Johnson will continue to attack each other, or if they will be able to set their differences aside, at least until January, when there is a new session of Congress. If Trump can truly unite a divided Republican Congress, this has big implications for what he can do for a divided American people. Now, it's ironic to say, but Representative Nancy Pelosi was not happy that Donald Trump held his meeting on Capitol Hill because of January 6th. During an interview, Pelosi stated, "Today, the instigator of an insurrection is returning to the scene of the crime. January 6th was a crime against the Capitol that saw Nazi and Confederate flags flying under the dome that Lincoln built. But make no mistake, Trump has already cemented his legacy of shame in our hallowed halls." Gosh, I just remember people walking around with American flags, not Hitler Nazi flags. If they were there, I'm almost certain they weren't conservative Republicans. Now, is Nancy Pelosi going to act like she didn't admit on video 3 years prior that she was the one responsible for not having the National Guard there, that she had responsibility in this huge mistake? Now, she's going to pretend that there wouldn't have been a different outcome when 1 million people were coming into Washington, D.C. They knew this based on airline flights, sold out hotels. It seems like she took her first chance at putting the blame back on Donald Trump since the leaked video. But you can't make it up. And they're not denying that it was an artificial intelligence created video. She's just embarrassed. She knows it's her fault, but we'll see what the history books end up writing. My guess is we will see a Trump ad in the near future where this video of Pelosi admitting she's at fault comes up, or classic Donald Trump style, he'll likely play it at one of his upcoming political rallies. The Supreme Court has made a huge decision regarding abortion access. While the legality of abortion has been left up to the states now that Roe v. Wade is overturned, some pro-life activists attempted to get the Supreme Court to ban an FDA-approved morning after pill. While I'm sure these people had good intentions, it was a dead-end effort to start, as abortion is no longer regulated at the federal level, and the morning after pill is not the same as aborting a 9-month-old fetus. Now, Justice Brett Kavanaugh commented on the 9-0 ruling by stating, "Citizens and doctors do not have standing to sue simply because others are allowed to engage in certain activities. The plaintiffs lack standing to challenge FDA's actions." Now, the Democrats will use every chance to discuss female reproductive rights since it's their biggest and only talking point. Remember, according to Democrat data, 25% of Democrats only vote based on abortion. So it is a big deal. It is the only thing they really have to go on. So of course they're going to push it. Now, Republicans, being like super, super stupid, then tried to block access to IVF. Like, why would you do that? IVF has literally helped tens of thousands of couples to get pregnant, start families, contribute natural citizens to the American population. Like, I don't know why they would do that. And also the Baptist Church just came out and voted that IVF is evil. Like, I'm a Christian, but I think the Baptists have gone too far. Like, literally, they're creating more children of God. Why on earth would you be against that? Now, earlier this week, I discussed how Trump's threat of revenge may actually be backfiring. Trump's former campaign advisor, David Urban, is offering him a word of advice. During an interview with CNN, he stated, "What I'd like to see President Trump come out with a statement saying, look, if Hunter Biden commits to a program of sobriety, inpatient or outpatient, shows up, keeps his sobriety, I will pardon him." I'd love for President Trump to say that. It would be a magnanimous offer on his part, show humanity, and really flip the table on the Democrats. Now, I think it's actually an interesting idea, right? You can't break gun laws, you can't buy guns and commit felonies, but at the same time, 25 years, that seems pretty excessive to me. But it really would piss off the Democrats by magnanimously saying, you know what, if I become president, in addition to Edward Snowden and others, I'm going to pardon Hunter Biden right away. Wow, game changer, right? Now, I want to take a second to comment on this. I personally really like it. Again, I think it would show Trump being the bigger man. He obviously didn't go after Hillary Clinton. Maybe that was a mistake, but I think Trump knew that engaging in political warfare, persecution of your political opponent is a bad idea. And that's why he didn't go after Hillary Clinton. That's why he didn't go after Barack Insane Obama. I think he wanted to show he was the bigger man. However, if people are going to play dirty, what are you going to do? Just bow down and allow them to ruin your life? No, you have to fight back, right? You have to stand up to bullies or else they don't back down. While yesterday's semi-positive inflation report came out, Fed Chair Jerome Powell has seemingly accused the Biden administration of inflating payroll numbers. Wow, the White House actually faked data. While discussing the labor market, Jerome Powell admitted there is an argument that payroll may be a bit overstated. After this crazy admission, Edward Snowden stated, "Not sure I've ever seen the chairman of the Federal Reserve publicly accuse the White House of cooking the books on employment numbers, but here we are." Of course, they're faking the data, right? They're trying to look good right before the election. But I don't know that Joe Biden can overcome the inflation, the war, the border crisis. I mean, anybody that votes for him is not really voting for him. They're just voting against Trump, right? Like, let's be honest. He hasn't done a great job. He's not been a great president. So any vote for Biden is most likely just a vote against Trump. But I think a lot of people are changing their minds, and we're going to see a huge turnout for Donald J. Trump. All right, with the G7 summit underway, it appears that Ukraine is going to receive a $50 billion loan from the United States of America. The loan will be reportedly paid back by $325 billion in Russian bank assets. Basically, it will be repaid by Russia paying it over time. I mean, if we're giving them 50 and we've already given them 200, like, why aren't we paying ourselves back $250 billion? Oh, that's right, because we love to screw over the American taxpayer. I forgot for a second that that's what the government does best. They go to war and they screw over taxpayers. All right, now, two major events have happened that should have every tax-paying American furious. While you struggle to buy groceries, a new car, repair an old car, get a new washing machine, cover rent, get into a first-time house, Biden has just signed a deal with Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine to give American taxpayer money to financially support the war of Ukraine versus Russia for the next 10 years. I mean, we're going to spend $1 trillion on this stupid war. Now, this puts our children and grandchildren at greater risk of being pulled into war, but certainly puts them on the hook financially for $1 trillion over the next 10 years. Also, we were told American money was being used to support and spread democracy. However, Ukraine says no elections in Ukraine for the next 10 years. So 10 years of no elections and 10 years of American tax money. Wait a minute. American tax money. American tax money. ATM. Oh, I get it. Zelensky sees you and me as an ATM. American tax money. Wow. This guy really is running the best Ponzi scheme in world history. Too bad 500,000 Ukrainians have shed their blood for this moron. All right, did you see what Representative Matt Gaetz shared? He stated, we need to stop the transfer of cluster munitions to any country. In Ukraine, where Joe Biden gave cluster munitions, even though it's illegal, 95% of the people injured by those weapons are civilians, including children. If Congress continues to flood the battlefield in Ukraine with indiscriminate killing instruments like cluster munitions, the blood of everyone impacted, including children, will indeed be on our hands. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care that the cluster munitions they sent are hurting or maiming or killing civilians and children. Now, yesterday, Donald Trump was asked about Biden wanting to send another $60 billion to Ukraine. Trump said, they'll never be there for us. I would rather pay our troops more than send that money to Ukraine. Wow. What an idea. Let me know in the comments. Should we be sending more money to Ukraine, or should we actually pay our men and women in uniform better? Should we actually take care of our veterans? You know, there's literally bills being signed around the country to give more benefits to illegals than to veterans. It's absolutely disgusting to me. But, you know, Ukraine, they need that money. Zelensky and his cabinet members, they need more luxury cars, more vacation homes, more young people dying on the front line so that they can enjoy their American tax money. You and I are an ATM to their luxury lifestyle. Like, think how angry you are when you see somebody in America that stole COVID stimulus money. Now, think about the stolen money in Ukraine, except for now, thousands of people are dying so that they can have that money. And now you might begin to understand why I'm against this war. It's a scam. It is a money laundering opportunity and a humanitarian crisis. I'm actually on Zelensky's death list. My name is listed. I have seen it. They hate my guts for telling you the truth. But the truth is, Ukraine is a money laundering scam. All right, even Democrat Representative Sarah Jacobs of California is saying Biden's cluster bomb fiasco must stop. It's now been proven that children are being hurt and maimed and killed. But again, they don't care. As long as the weapon manufacturers get their money, these people get reelected to office. And after all, it's about power. It's not about influence. It's about power. It's not about making your life better or my life better? It's kind of depressing when you think about it, right? Like, ooh, wow. All right, here's issue number 2. Prince Mohammed bin Salman has rejected to renew the U.S. petrodollar agreement with Saudi Arabia. This means the U.S. dollar is no longer the only currency you can buy oil in. From here on out, the U.S. dollar will lose more and more value as U.S. dollars flood back to the homeland instead of being used and circulated to buy goods around the globe. Now, the dollar has already lost 26% of its buying power under Joe Biden, and it's only going to get worse. Now, I'm not going to throw in a perfectly placed gold ad, although I should. However, I did just sign a deal with a gold company that I believe in. I've been buying gold and silver, so I'll tell you about them at a later video, but I'm not throwing an ad in. But it is something to think about. The US dollar is going to lose more value. I mean, let me know over in the chat. Do you trust the US government to protect the strength of the dollar? I want you to type T if you trust them, and I want you to type N for no. For me, I'm a big no. I definitely don't trust the United States government to protect the US dollar, at least not under this regime. All right, lastly, according to new data, RFK Jr. is polling better than any third-party candidate in 30 years. He's tied with Biden in Utah and other states, and he's only getting more traction, which means in many states, he's actually going to be Trump's biggest competitor, not Joe Biden. I still think that they're going to drop Joe Biden and possibly offer RFK Jr. his position, but we'll see. We'll see. As you know, I like RFK Jr., but I'm not going to vote for him. I think one reason RFK is doing so well is he's focused on trying to come up with solutions for protecting the middle class. He's also against these forever wars and has suggested that we should cut military spending by 50%, close bases around the world, and bring our men and women in uniform home to protect us, protect the dollar, and protect the U.S. border. No more illegals sneaking in. Let's use those trillions of dollars to improve infrastructure, schools, become an economic powerhouse like the United States of America used to be. That would get jobs booming. That would make the dollar strong. But they're not going to do it. Again, I like RFK Jr. I think he has great ideas. He would be an incredible member of the Trump cabinet. We'll see what happens, but I think it's a really interesting idea, and I believe he has 100 times more brains than Joseph Robinette Biden. All right, that's my update for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I want to remind you that you are amazing, so stay that way. Just in case nobody tells you that, you are amazing. I really, really believe that. Hey, hit that subscribe button. We are almost to 1.6 million amazing truth seekers. You guys, thank you so much for the support. Give this video a like, share it with family and friends. Hit that subscribe button. I love you so much, and I will see you on the next video.